I was a child when I fell into the darkness. Alfred thought it was a rabbit hole, but it was a cave. A bat cave. Thousands of bats everywhere. I fought them off, but then, out the shadows, came, gliding with ancient grace, unwilling to retreat as his brothers did, eyes gleaming, untouched by love or joy or sorrow, breath hot with the taste of fallen foes, the stench of dead things, surely the purest warrior I've ever known, the only evil I've never been able to face. Most people think I became Batman to fight crime. I became Batman to fight that fear. And then, I became the fear.
You are listening to Batman 3. The original Batman Forever script. Written by Lee and Janet Scott Batchelor. With additions by Akiva Goldsman. Adapted by Ben Wan. Arkham Asylum was home to Gotham City's most notorious criminals. Inside, head psychiatrist Dr. Burton roamed the halls, arriving at the cell of his patient Harvey Dent. Years ago, Dent had been a crusading district attorney against crime in Gotham, but to clean up the streets, he needed help. That's when he was visited by Batman. Together, they had made a pact. Harvey would bend the rules and allow a vigilante like Batman to bring in criminals. In exchange, Batman would protect Harvey. As a team, they took down the remaining crime boss in the city, Boss Maroni. During his trial, however, Maroni had a surprise. A vial of acid that he threw at Harvey. Batman appeared in the courtroom and tried to stop it, but it was too late. The vial hit Harvey, scarring him on one side of his face. Harvey blamed Batman for failing to protect him. The acid created brain damage and enough trauma where the rules of right and wrong no longer applied. In fact, in Harvey's mind, it was doing the right thing that only led to his pain and tragedy. So he turned to crime, deciding on his morality by flipping a coin and calling himself Two-Face. Batman eventually caught his former ally, sending him to Arkham Asylum for treatment. Now, Dr. Burton wanted to discuss his latest evaluation of the patient. He entered the former district attorney's cell to talk to him. Inside was a figure sitting in shadow, wrapped in a straitjacket. As the doctor touched his shoulder, however, he instead found a man gagged and bound to the chair with bed sheets. The bed sheets yanked him up, making him spin frantically from the ceiling fan. Two-Face had tricked an Arkham guard into taking his place. A tape recorder swung from his neck and started playing a recording of Two-Face's voice, leaving a cryptic message.
The bats must die.
The next day, word spread across Gotham of Two-Face's escape. Batman, in his civilian identity as Bruce Wayne, heard the news, but couldn't be too distracted right now. Today was his review of the Wayne Tech Division in his company. An entourage of junior execs trailed his every step as he strolled down the aisles, led by the head of the department, Fred Stickley. Among the employees, one took a particular interest in seeing the big boss there. Edward Nygma sat in a cluttered cubicle. Surrounding him were crossword puzzles, Rubik's Cubes, and various games. As a child, he had always loved puzzles. He loved them so much. In fact, he had even changed his last name from Heckendorf to Nygma, just to make his name sound like Enigma. He had also idolized Bruce Wayne, feeling a kinship towards the tech's genius. He had a shrine to Bruce on his wall, covered in newspaper headlines and magazine covers. Now, finally seeing his idol, he mustered the courage to approach Bruce. The department head, Fred Stickley, gave him a disapproving look.
I'm sorry, Mr. Wayne. I've tried to keep him away from...
It's always time for an employee, Fred. And you are?
Me? Edward Nygma, sir! Oh, sorry. I've waited forever to meet you. It's almost as if someone's been trying to keep us apart.
What's on your mind, Edward?
Exactly! What's on all our minds? Brainwaves. The future of Wayne Tech is brainwaves!
I really do apologize, Mr. Wayne. His project was terminated this morning.
Edward revealed a contraption with a headset that he affectionately called the box.
Imagine, Mr. Wayne, to beam information directly into the brain! No more school! Just dial up the program and you're an expert! No more painful experiences! No more failure! Everyone can be something. Someone. I just need a bit more funding for human trials.
But as Edward kept talking, Bruce noticed the view from the window. Out in the city, the bat signal was beaming against the forming clouds. Batman was needed, which meant Bruce Wayne needed to leave. Now.
Surely you can see I'm handing you the future. We'll begin this together. Partners.
Thanks. Call my secretary. She'll set something up.
Bruce turned, but Edward suddenly grabbed his arm. The room went silent.
Mr. Wayne, please, just say yes.
I'm sorry, Ed, then the answer's no. Tampering with people's brainwaves. It's mind manipulation. It just raises too many question marks.
Bruce walked off, leaving Edward shattered.
You were supposed to understand. I'll make you understand.
Bruce got to his office, locking the door behind him. Then, he sat in his chair and pressed a button. Suddenly, a trapdoor opened up, sending him into a transport capsule through an underground tunnel. A secret passageway taking him straight to the Batcave. There, he donned the cape and cowl of his alter ego, transforming himself into Batman. He then took off in the Batmobile. From the police radio, he could tell that Commissioner Gordon would be waiting for him at the Second National Bank of Gotham. He arrived, finding Gordon with a woman he had never seen before.
2 guards dead. He's holding a 3rd hostage. Didn't see this one coming.
We should have, though. $2 million waiting to be transferred from the Second National Bank of Gotham on the 22nd. How could Two-Face resist?
Batman, I'd like you to meet Dr. Chase Meridien. She specializes in the treatment of dual personalities.
Harvey's case is especially interesting because of the severity of the personality split. You might have some interesting insights into someone like him.
What makes you think so?
Let's just say I could write a heck of a paper on why a grown man dresses up like a flying rodent.
Bats aren't rodents, Dr. Meridien.
Just then, they looked up, seeing a wrecking ball hit the side of the bank. Inside, Two-Face's men attached chains from a giant safe to an even thicker chain, dangling 30 stories from the top of a nearby construction site. Sitting perched on the steel beams of the site was a large Black Hawk helicopter. It revved up its rotors. A giant winch aboard the Black Hawk started to pulley the safe up, sending it through the cargo hatch of the chopper's belly. Down below, Chase and Gordon looked back to see Batman's reaction, but the Dark Knight had already gone. Inside, Two-Face and his men saw the lights above the elevator move up from floor to floor. Batman was on his way.
Boys, welcome our guests.
When it reached their floor, the doors opened. Two-Face's men fired away. With the thugs distracted, a ceiling panel lifted. Batman dropped into the room and fired knockout gas in one of their faces. The goon was out cold in seconds. Batman then saw the bank guard was taken hostage. He hooked a line from the ceiling opening to the guard's bound feet and yanked it, whisking the guard up and out of danger. As Batman fought off the rest of the gang, Two-Face leapt out through the hole in the wall, grabbing onto a chain that pulled him up to his escape helicopter. After taking down the last thug, Batman saw that the copter was taking the giant safe with it. Thinking quickly, he leapt onto the safe, then pulled out a blowtorch from his utility belt, slicing through the chain. He held onto the remaining chain as the safe fell, crashing more than 40 stories below. Down on the ground, Dr. Chase Meridien looked up, impressed. Just who was this man? Up above, Batman held tightly onto the chain of the ladder, with the helicopter swinging him above Arkham Square. Two-Face's pilot tried to shake him off, but Batman pulled his way up the chain and into the helicopter, charging at Two-Face. During the scuffle, Two-Face fired at Batman, but hit the pilot instead. Both Batman and Two-Face rushed to the front, wrestling for control inside the madly lurching helicopter, which was heading straight for the giant Lady Gotham statue in Gotham Harbor.
There's only one way out of this waltz, Bats. One of us dies.
I won't kill you.
But Batman had Harvey by the throat. Fingers squeezing tight, Harvey struggled, then began to laugh.
Batman doesn't kill. What's that lethal curl of your lip? What's that homicidal gleam in your eyes? You're a killer, too.
Somehow, Harvey's words seemed to shake Batman, giving the criminal enough of an opening to kick him away. Two-Face then jumped out of the hatch with a parachute. With no time left, Batman dove after him, just as the helicopter crashed into Lady Gotham. Batman landed in the water. As he floated, he suddenly was hit with memories from childhood. 2 gunshots. Pearls hitting the pavement. A boy running through a storm. a red leather-bound book clutched in his hands. A fall down a narrow stone chute in a cave. And a bat, huge, evil, screeching. And then, Two-Face's words haunting him.
You're killed too.
Batman woke up before he could figure out what he was seeing. He rose up to the surface. Two-Face was nowhere to be found. And in a reflection of Harvey Dent, half of Lady Gotham's face had been disfigured by the explosion. Batman had failed. Over at Wayne Enterprises, Edward Nygma was staying up late to work on his invention. He wanted to prove Bruce Wayne wrong, but he wasn't the only one at the office that night. Anticipating that Edward would do something unauthorized, his manager, Stickley, found Edward in his cubicle.
Nygma, what are you doing? Oh, I'm calling security.
But as Stickley turned, Edward grabbed an empty coffee pot and hit him over the head, knocking him out. When Stickley awoke, he found himself strapped to a swivel chair and wearing Nygma's invention over his head. The deluded employee immediately turned it on. A green glow emanated from the TV screen, engulfing Stickley, showing him a holographic representation of a fisherman reeling in a prize bass. A white beam then exploded from the TV into Stickley's headband, then backfired through the machine into Edward's headband. Edward gasped, invigorated.
Riddle me this, friend. One is everything to someone and nothing to everyone else. You're mine. And now mine comes with the power of yours.
After a few moments, Edward shut his invention off, out of breath, realizing that the box had one side effect.
While you're mesmerized by my 3D TV, I utilize your neural energy to grow smarter.
In layman's terms,
I could read your stupid little mind with my brilliant invention.
Then you must know you are fired.
Oh, I don't think so.
Edward shoved Stickley, sending him careening across the slick floor, trapped and bound to the swivel chair. He crashed through the window, falling out to his death. Edward turned to the pictures of Bruce Wayne in his cubicle and started ripping them off.
Question marks, Mr. Wayne. My work raises too many question marks. Here's one for you. Why hasn't anybody put you in your place?
The next morning, Commissioner Gordon contacted Bruce to let him know that Wayne Enterprises was now a crime scene. It appeared that Stickley had thrown himself out the window.
We've questioned everyone who worked on the floor, but the computer records show no one coming in or out after Stickley.
Computer records can be forged. How can my people pull up?
Excuse me, Commissioner Gordon. We found this.
Another cop handed Gordon a piece of paper he had found. On the bottom was Stickley's signature.
Suicide. Looks like Stickley left a note. And with all due respect, Mr. Wayne, our job is difficult enough without interference from amateurs. Please leave the police work to us. We'll be in touch.
Unbeknownst to the Gotham City Police Department, however, the computer records had been doctored by Edward Nygma. Coincidentally, Nygma resigned from Wayne Enterprises that very same day, claiming that he was too emotionally distraught to work there after Stickley's death. Bruce was naturally suspicious. He'd make a note to look at the computer records later. As he got to his office, however, he found a strange green envelope with a question mark on it. Bruce opened it, reading it.
When first I appear, it will be mysteriously. When I'm explained, you'll take me seriously. Signed, the Riddler.
That night, in the Batcave, Bruce overheard a talk show discussing Batman's battle with Two-Face. To them, Batman was the one responsible for the destruction of Lady Gotham's face, as well as responsible for driving Two-Face to crime. The most vocal Batman critic was a psychiatrist named Dr. Ames.
What is the Dark Knight's credo? Batman does not kill? What if those slain during his fight with Jack Napier, the Joker, or in his Christmas conflict with the orphan Cobblepot? Batman belongs behind bars, not his morally disadvantaged victims.
But another guest was defending Batman. It was the woman he met outside of the bank last night, Dr. Chase Meridien.
Batman is a reaction to the crime in this city, not a creator of it. The criminals, remember them? Are the ones with no regard for the life, liberty, or happiness of Gotham's citizens.
I could like this woman.
His butler, Alfred, entered the cave.
No one at the door, sir. Just this odd envelope.
When I am you and you are me, success for me and death for thee. The Riddler. Letter bears no fingerprints. No distinguishing watermarks. Common paper, purchased anywhere.
Bruce looked at the envelope, struck by an idea. He would visit Dr. Meridien as Bruce Wayne. The next morning, he visited her office.
How can I help you, Mr. Wayne?
Please, call me Bruce. I received this. I thought you might give me your expert opinion.
He handed her the Riddler's letters. What she read clearly disturbed her.
My advice? Hire a bodyguard. We're talking deep-seated duality. Pathological adoption of a ghost identity to act out sublimated rage. Anyone who needs to lead two lives, two separate identities, can never be whole or lead a balanced life.
Really? I mean, you really think this Riddler's that dangerous?
This is someone who once worshipped the ground you walked on, but now would like to slit your throat. The good news is that for the time being, I think he just wants to scare you. Still, I would have someone with me at all times.
So I'd be safe to go out on, say, a date?
In public, avoid in dark places. I see no problem.
Good. You doing anything tonight?
Mr. Wayne, we've just met.
And I'm a quick judge of character.
I'm flattered, really, but I don't date my patients. Ever.
I'm not your patient. This Riddler guy, he could be your patient. But me? I mean, do I look like some unbalanced individual who, lives a double life?
No, of course not. But I'll have you know, I'm just not a dinner and a movie person.
Me either. How about the circus?
Chase smiled. It was a yes. That week, Bruce took Chase to the charity circus at the giant Gotham Hippodrome. Knowing Bruce would be there, however, Edward Nygma arrived at the circus too. He spotted Bruce with Chase as they walked through the concession booths. A big sign read, "Larry the Leprechaun tells your fortune."
Shall we check out our future together?
Bruce and Chase went in. Edward quickly went around the back, finding Larry the Leprechaun. Before the man could stop him, Edward put the helmet on him, connecting him to the box. The Leprechaun dropped into his chair, zoned out on the TV. With the real fortune teller occupied, Edward took the Leprechaun outfit for his own. using a green mask to hide his face. He then walked out, greeting Bruce and Chase.
Oh, Shar and Gorham! What a lovely couple! Come to find out what the future has in store.
Sure, why not?
But Edward grabbed Bruce's hand instead of Chase's.
An interesting hand.
Why don't you read Dr. Meridian's hand here? She's much more interesting.
So much success. So much power. Everything that would make a person green with envy. But someone's coming to take your place. Someone who will win the hearts, minds, and money of Gotham City.
And who is this person?
I don't know. All I see is a big question mark!
Bruce, the circus is starting.
Bruce left with Chase as Edward watched. Remaining in the leprechaun outfit, he raced through the back of the booth to grab his equipment. In the Hippodrome, the crowd was enraptured by the acrobatic family, the Flying Graysons. They flew 70 feet above the ground, risking life and limb. Bruce and Chase joined the audience in applauding as the Graysons performed triple flying somersaults. The youngest member of the family, Richard, or Dick, as his family called him, performed his own specialty act, the quadruple flying somersault. He swung out on the trapeze, flinging himself into the air, spinning through space. Finally, he reached his arms out, and his father caught him, delighting the crowd. Dick smiled. His father was always there to catch him. As the Graysons recovered, however, a sinister voice announced himself from below.
Ladies and gents, may we have your attention? We are here to bring you absolute chaos and true justice, which my darling ignorant friends are no more or less than two sides of the same coin. Tonight, a new act for your amusement. We call it Massacre Under the Big Top.
Everyone recognized who the newcomer was. Two-Face. His men, dressed as clowns, fired into the air.
If we may direct your attention up to the Hippodrome ceiling, inside that wooden box is a bomb powerful enough to make the entire roof come crashing down. And this is a radio detonator. Now what do we want? Easy. Batman. We stand before you naked and unashamed, honest and true before all Gotham City. But Batman, what kind of man needs to wear a mask like that? Obviously a prominent man, a well-known man, someone every soul in Gotham would recognize instantly. Under this one roof, we have the so-called cream of Gotham society. The mayor, the new DA, businessmen, civic leaders, artists. Why not Batman? How about it, Bats? Are you here tonight? Are you enjoying the show? Reveal yourself. We'll disarm the bomb and everyone can go home. Otherwise, kaboom!
And with that, Two-Face activated the countdown. The crowd now had 2 minutes to live. Bruce stood up to stop Two-Face. No secret was worth innocent lives. But Chase, misunderstanding his actions, tried to pull him back into his seat.
Bruce, there's nothing you can do. Only Batman can save us.
But Bruce couldn't sit still and watch everyone die. He ran off. He wasn't alone trying to stop the bomb, though. Up above, the Grayson family started moving towards the ascending bomb in the hopes of finding a way to get away from the people. Two-Face sent his men up to stop them, leading to a fight between the criminals and the acrobats. Under his father's instructions, the youngest Grayson, Dick, launched himself from trapeze to trapeze, gaining enough height to grab a catwalk rail and pull himself up into the rafters towards the bomb crate. 1 minute to go. Dick reached the bomb crate. He untied it from its moorings, grabbed it, then ran down the catwalk with it to a maintenance ladder, leading through a roof hatch. As the rest of his family struggled against Two-Face's henchmen, one thug hit Mrs. Grayson off the platform, but she managed to snag a trapeze with one leg. Mr. Grayson and the rest of the family went off, forming a human chain to reach her. Down below, Two-Face opened a trapdoor to escape, but wondered if he should punish the heroic Graysons for trying to stop him.
The universe asks the same old question. Life or death?
He flipped his coin. It landed the scarred side. Bruce saw what Two-Face was about to do and sprinted towards him. As he did, his mind saw flashes of more memories again. An alley, a man in the shadows, a gun. Distracted, he missed a henchman in his blind spot who knocked Bruce down flat, stopping him from reaching his boss. Then, Two-Face raised his gun and fired 2 shots. The first bullet only cut, but the second severed through the ropes, holding up the acrobat family. Bruce and the rest of the crowd watched in horror as the Graysons fell. In the underground, as Two-Face and his men were making their getaway, they noticed someone new had joined them. Two-Face pointed a gun, aiming it right at Edward Nygma, still wearing his disguise.
You wouldn't shoot a leprechaun!
Through the hatch in the roof, Dick threw the bomb over into the harbor. It sunk for a second before the countdown reached 0. The explosion knocked everyone around, allowing Edward to escape from Two-Face below. Dick watched from the roof, out of breath, but excited. He had saved the day. But as he went back inside, he froze. His knees buckled as he saw the bodies of his family on the ground. He collapsed. But someone caught him. It was Bruce Wayne. Moments later, the police arrived. Commissioner Gordon talked to Bruce and Chase Meridien.
That kid saved our lives.
Yeah, but at what price? What's gonna happen to him?
State home for juveniles. Apparently the boy has no other family, and the law won't allow him to stay with the circus. Can you imagine losing your whole family like that?
I'll take him. He can come stay with me, as long as he likes.
Bruce Wayne? Adopt a kid? No offense, Bruce, but I just can't see you as the father type.
Then maybe you need new glasses.
The next day, Wayne Manor's gates opened for Dick Grayson as Alfred and Bruce greeted him.
Welcome, Master Grayson.
No offense, but I figured staying here would save me a truckload of social service interviews.
Well, I hope your time here isn't too distasteful. If there's anything I can do, if you want someone to talk to.
I don't need charity. I'm only doing this long enough to get a fix on Two-Face. And then I'm going to kill him.
Dick, listen to me. I know how much pain you're in. What it's like to lose people you love. But you can't...
You're not my father, okay? You're just some rich guy trying to do a good deed. You don't even know me.
Dick grabbed his bags, and went up the stairs, leaving Bruce with Alfred.
It's happening again. Just like my parents. A monster comes out of the night. Scream. 2 gunshots. I killed them.
Master Bruce, what did you say?
Two-Face. He slaughtered that boy's parents.
No, you said. I killed them.
Bruce blinked. Did he? What was happening to him? Across town, Two-Face plotted in his hideout for a new way to kill Batman when a familiar figure in green arrived.
It's your new best friend, the Riddler.
Emerging from the shadows stood Edward Nygma, now reborn as the Riddler. He had taken the leprechaun outfit from the circus and covered it in question marks. Now, Riddler was offering to team up with Two-Face and hooked the criminal and his henchmen to the box, giving them a taste of what he could provide.
Addictive, isn't it, my dual visaged friend? Here's the concept. You will help me gather enough cash to become the greatest electronics mogul of all time, eclipsing Bruce Wayne forever. And I'll give you Batman's head on a silver platter.
The next night, Two-Face and Riddler began a crime spree that swept the city. First, the Diamond Exchange. Then, a casino. The next night, an entire opera house. Each time, Riddler would use the box to scramble communications, making Batman and the police arrive at the wrong locations. Each time, Riddler would leave another riddle, giving a clue to his next crime. The public turned more and more against Batman for failing to stop them, giving even more fuel to his critic, Dr. Ames.
We don't need Batman anyway. It's about time we took care of ourselves. We've become weak. Anytime someone's in trouble, they scream, "Batman! Batman!" Weaklings!
While the Riddler terrorized the streets in a mask at night, his public persona of Edward Nygma was selling the box to every home in Gotham as a 3D television set. His new company, Nygmatech, quickly built its headquarters on a small island outside of the city called Claw Island. Bruce, still suspicious of Nygma, had Alfred buy a model of the box. The butler brought it into the Batcave one afternoon as he saw Bruce tinkering with a new bat suit.
I see you haven't gotten the new sonar modification running yet.
It'll never work.
I believe that's what you said about the Batmobile.
Alfred began trying to disassemble the box. Bruce helped him take off the lid, but once it opened, the circuitry inside vaporized instantly. Clearly, Nygma was keeping his secrets to himself. While Bruce worked, Dick Grayson started to wonder why his guardian was always disappearing. He had witnessed Bruce constantly enter the only locked room in the mansion. One night, he watched Alfred unlock it and go in. Before the door closed, Dick leapt over the banister, grabbing the chandelier. Then, he slid down a tapestry before reaching the floor, where he made one more slide into the passageway before the door slammed. As he crept in, he was immediately struck by how cold and dark everything was. Then, he saw exactly where he was standing. The Batcave. And suddenly, everything about Bruce Wayne started to make sense. Meanwhile, in the city, Bruce was visiting Dr. Chase Meridien. Ever since his confrontation with Two-Face in the helicopter, his dreams and memories had been getting worse.
My parents were murdered in front of me. I was just a kid. I can't remember exactly what happened. I get flashes. I'd gotten used to them. But now, there's a new element. A red leather book.
Bruce, you're describing repressed memories. Images of some forgotten pain trying to surface. Is it possible there's an aspect of your parents' death you haven't faced?
Bruce stopped as he noticed that Chase's desk was a shrine to Batman, containing what little photos, articles, and footage there were of him from over the years.
Why do I feel like the other man here, Doctor?
Please don't change the subject. I want to help.
I'd say all this goes a little beyond taking your work home.
All right. He's fascinating. Clinically. Why does a man do this? Look at this footage of him fighting Catwoman. Look at the abuse he's taking. He's not just fighting criminals. He's punishing himself. It's as if he's cursed to pay some great penance. What crime could he have committed to deserve a life of nightly torture?
As Bruce thought over her question, his watch buzzed. On the video screen, Alfred appeared.
Sir, I'm afraid I have some rather distressing news about Master Dick. He's gone traveling.
He boosted the Jag?
No, sir. The other car.
Dick drove the Batmobile through Arkham Square, looking for vengeance. Either he'd find Two-Face or he'd find someone else to punish. Dick followed the screen. Witnessing a gang terrorizing a teenage girl, he jumped out to the rescue, fighting off the attackers. But he was quickly finding himself outnumbered. Just then, a dark shape jumped from above in the alley, causing all of the gang members to scatter. It was Batman. Batman turned as Dick Grayson suddenly started attacking him.
It's your fault! You killed them! If you made Two-Face see you were at the circus, they'll still be alive!
If Bruce Wayne could have given his life to save your family, he would have.
Finally, from all the loss and pain, Dick broke down crying. Later, Batman took him back to the Batcave.
All I think about every second of every day is getting Two-Face. But when I was out there tonight, I imagined it was him I was fighting. Even when I was fighting you, all the hurt went away. You've got to help me find him. And when we do, I'm the one who kills him.
So, you're willing to take a life?
As long as it's Two-Face.
Then it'll happen this way. You make the kill, but your pain doesn't die with Harvey. It grows. So you rush into the night to find another face, and another, and another. Until one terrible morning you wake up and realize the revenge has become your whole life. You won't know why. Only that somewhere in the night it stopped being a choice.
You can't understand. Your parents weren't killed by a maniac.
Yes, they were. We're the same. You don't know what it's like. You give up real life. You live in shadows, always hiding. Loneliness, isolation, no family, no friends. I want better for you.
Save the sermon, okay? Don't you read the papers? Batman's slipping. You could use some new blood. So, either you let me help you, or I do myself.
Dick stormed back upstairs, leaving Bruce to think over what to do. The next night, Edward Nygma hosted a party for his company, Nygmatech. Bruce, still suspicious of Nygma, decided to investigate and take Chase with him as his date. While he was there, he started examining the box again.
What's wrong with you, Bruce? This is a fantastic party.
Marketing, PR, packaging. Clumsy little guy who used to work for me couldn't have put this together this fast.
But Edward Nygma was no longer the little guy. Nygmatech had been outselling and expanding faster than Wayne Enterprises. Nygma saw Bruce from across the room and walked over to him to gloat. He was dressed in the same exact suit with the same haircut, making himself a mirror image of Bruce Wayne.
We meet on even terms at last. Or a bit uneven the way things are going for you, Bruce. Alas, you had your chance to join me.
Happy for you, Edward. Really.
Gracious even in defeat. How charming.
Everyone turned to see Two-Face and his men arrive, attacking the party.
All right, folks. This is an old-fashioned, low-tech stick-up. Hand them over nice and easy, and no one gets hurt.
Bruce quickly slipped away from the party, sliding down the fire escape to the alley, where he met with Alfred.
Emergency, Alfred.
Alfred opened up a secret panel in the back of the car, revealing the bat suit. Bruce donned it. Inside, Nygma confronted Two-Face. This wasn't part of his plan.
Oh, if you wanted an invitation, all you had to do was ask!
We're sick of waiting for you to deliver the bat, Riddle boy. Nothing brings out Batman like a little mayhem and murder.
Edward and Two-Face looked up to see Batman crash through a window, kicking down a row of Two-Face's men. With Batman and the police closing in, Two-Face and the others scrambled over into the express elevator. Batman pulled out a handful of bat cuffs and threw them towards the closing thugs. The cuffs honed in on their wrists. They fell to the ground, cuffed. Batman looked over to the elevator. The floor counter ticked down to the bottom level. He went to the balcony and leapt, gliding 60 floors toward the street, as he saw Two-Face and his men run down a subway platform towards a tunnel.
He's right behind us. Excellent.
Two-Face grabbed the nearest hostage on the platform. It was Dr. Ames, the Batman critic on TV. Two-Face shoved his gun to the doctor's chin.
Oh, we know you. You bored us on TV.
Batman, help me!
Batman threw a batarang, hitting Two-Face in the hand. He dropped his gun and ran off. Dr. Ames stared at Batman in newfound gratitude as the Dark Knight chased Two-Face into the subway tunnel. With Batman on his tail, Two-Face smashed an old gas pipe, then yanked it away from the wall. He then grabbed a grenade launcher from his men and fired. Flames erupted in a huge fireball, heading straight towards Batman. Batman quickly covered himself in his cape. It protected him as the fireball barreled right over him, dissipating into smoke. Two-Face lowered the grenade launcher, satisfied.
Finally. Next, the Riddler.
But then, through the smoke and fire, Batman rose up from the ground, arms open, spreading his cape-like wings. He charged towards Two-Face like a demon. Two-Face and his men took off. Batman followed them further, ending up in a tunnel under construction. It was dark, only lit through stained glass panels connecting to the sidewalks above. Two-Face hid behind a scaffolding. With one push, he shoved the scaffolding over. It collapsed on Batman, sending rocks and debris over, half burying him. Batman was trapped. Thirsty for revenge, Two-Face strolled up to the Dark Knight's fallen form. But just as the criminal was about to kill him, there was a crash from one of the panels above. It was Dick, wearing an improvised costume rigged from his circus outfit. He wore green shorts, a yellow cape, a black mask, and a red vest. He landed on Two-Face, knocking him backwards. As Two-Face's men came to his defense, Batman struggled out of the rubble, helping Dick. Together, Batman and Dick fought off the henchmen as a team. With Dick's acrobatic agility at play, he was too fast for the thugs to even aim a fist at. With Batman and his new ally distracted, however, Two-Face made his escape through the tunnel. Batman tried to chase after him, but stopped, finding that the tunnel now broke into 4 passages, making it impossible to tell where he went. Batman turned to Dick, looking over his colorful costume.
Great camouflage. In a paint factory, maybe.
I saved you a bat butt back there. I think a little appreciation is in order.
Who are you supposed to be in those colors? Robin Hood.
Just then, Commissioner Gordon and reporters gathered towards the scene.
Who's the boy wonder, Batman?
Dick looked over at Batman, who caved in. Because the costume reminded him of Robin Hood, Batman decided to call him
Robin. His name's Robin.
And with that, the dynamic duo was born. Back at Wayne Manor, Alfred worked on updating Dick's suit with armor as Bruce started training Dick Grayson to be a crime fighter. Together, they worked out, trained with weapons. Bruce even took him through the Batcave files, teaching him that the job of a crime fighter was only 10% physical and 90% mental. But already, Bruce started having regrets on the life he was bringing Dick into. Alone with Alfred, he opened up.
Starting all over again.
Another boy lost to rage. That's my fault. If Harvey hadn't come gunning for me at the circus. His family. Why do I keep doing this?
Jack Napier's dead. Your parents are avenged. The Wayne Foundation contributes a fortune to anti-crime programs. Police handle much of the villainy. Why, indeed?
Trace talks about Batman as if he were a curse.
Not a choice. What frightened me the night of my parents' wake? What sent me running into the storm?
I don't know. Such tragic loss. Rain fell like tears.
I remember racing through the fields, falling into the cave. Bat chasing me. There was something else. Something I was running from. Did I create all this because a little boy was scared of a monster in the dark? I thought I became Batman to fight crime, but maybe it was to fight the fear.
And instead, you became the fear.
If I quit, would Two-Face? Could I leave the shadows? Spare Dick? Have a life? Friends? Family?
As Bruce thought it over, Two-Face returned to Claw Island, drawing a gun on Riddler.
I have all the muscle. I know how your brain straw works. So why do I need you? I flipped a coin. Guess who lost?
Of course. Take all the Empire. Please, go ahead, have it all! Or Batman.
He gestured towards the screen in front of him, showing security footage of Robin's attack on Two-Face in the subway. Next to it was footage of Dick Grayson's quadruple flying somersault at the circus. The screens blended together, showing that the moves matched. Two-Face stared in disbelief. If Dick Grayson was Robin, then that meant that Bruce Wayne was Batman? Perhaps he needed the Riddler after all. The next night was Halloween, and Bruce was preparing to quit as Batman.
What do you mean it's over?
Without Batman, you'll never track Two-Face down. Never get close to him. So from this day on, Batman is no more.
You can't quit. There are monsters out there. Batman has to protect the innocent.
Spent my life protecting people I've never met. Faces I'll never see. Well, the innocent aren't faceless anymore. If I let you lose yourself to revenge, all I've lived for will have been for nothing. Batman has to vanish so you can live. Maybe so we all can.
Dick turned away. He would have to get Two-Face on his own now. As Bruce went to his date, Dick went into the costume vault for the new Robin suit that Alfred had made him. He grabbed it and took off. Back upstairs, Bruce met with Chase, who had news.
I think I found something. About your dreams. I pulled the files on your parents' murders. There was a missing diary. Alfred told the police your father always kept it on his desk. But the day after the murders, it was gone. Maybe that's the book?
But Bruce stopped listening. He pressed his eyes hard. He was now seeing a series of images.
It's happening again. Flashes. Images of my parents' deaths.
Your memories are trying to break through. Let them come.
I'm not sure I want to remember.
You braved those thugs at the circus. Braved your parents' death. You can brave the past.
My parents are laid out in the library. My father's diary is on his desk, like always. I'm opening the book. Reading. I'm running out into the storm. The book is in my hands. I can't hear my screams over the rain. I'm falling into a hole.
What hurts so much, Bruce? What did the book say?
The last entry read, Bruce insists on seeing a movie tonight. Bruce insists. I made them take me to that theater. I killed them. That's what I couldn't remember. That's the crime I've been paying for all these years.
While Bruce and Chase were left reeling from this, Alfred answered the door to greet trick-or-treaters. Immediately, he was hit over the head by a large cane. Its handle was shaped like a question mark. The Riddler and Two-Face had arrived to storm Wayne Manor. One was there to attack Bruce Wayne, the other to attack Batman. Two-Face and his men stormed Bruce's study, forcing Bruce and Chase to fight them off. Meanwhile, Riddler used an electronic scanner to find the entrance to the Batcave. Delighted, he proceeded to use explosives, destroying Bruce's tech, ending with the Batmobile.
Gonna have a hot time in the old town tonight.
Who used to say that? Somebody always used to say that.
With that, the Batmobile was no more. Back in the manor, Bruce and Chase ran up to the top of the staircase, as down below, Two-Face flipped his coin. It landed on the scarred side. Two-Face took aim at Bruce and fired. The bullet grazed Bruce's head. He fell down the stairs, landing at Two-Face's feet below.
Bruce, my boy, you sure know how to throw a party.
Use your weapon, my impetuous cohort! We'll kill him, but first, we're gonna make him suffer.
He motioned for the henchman to take Chase away, then looked back at Bruce's unconscious body. This was only the beginning of his revenge. Down below in the Batcave, the Batsuits sat in a pile after Riddler had pulled them out of the costume vault. With one last explosion, the Batsuits began to melt. The next morning, a doctor arrived to examine Bruce. Other than a concussion, Bruce had been fine. But Alfred was about to discover that there was one major side effect.
Master Dick has run away. They've taken Dr. Meridien. And I'm afraid they found the cave, sir. It's been destroyed.
Cave? What cave?
Bruce had forgotten that he was Batman. With Chase's life at stake, Alfred took Bruce down into the Batcave.
I remember my life as Bruce Wayne, but all this, it's like the life of someone else. A stranger.
Well, perhaps in some ways it is. The Batman side of your personality has always been separate from you. It is not inconsistent that you might blank on it alone, the way certain amnesiacs lose just a single language.
There's the other thing, Alfred. I feel afraid.
Master Bruce, son, listen to me. You are a kind man, a strong man. But in truth, you are not the most sane man. You gave up being Batman to save a friend. But perhaps you also gave him up because you never faced why you became him in the first place.
What are you saying, Alfred?
I think you never dealt with your parents' death. Rather than brave your nightmares, you became one yourself. You wear the bat on the outside, but you have never faced him, never accepted the dark side of yourself. You must find a way to embrace your fear, to bring the Batman back. We need him.
Bruce stood at the mouth at the back of the Batcave, then stepped into the darkness. He arrived at the place where he had fallen, all those years ago. His father's journal, exactly where he had left it. He turned the yellowed pages to the last entry and read it in the moonlight.
Bruce insists on seeing a movie tonight. But Martha and I have our hearts set on sorrow. So Bruce's cartoon will have to wait until next week.
Bruce stared at the book in disbelief, tears streaming down his face as he came to a realization.
Not my fault. It wasn't my fault.
Then, in the darkness ahead, a shape moved, slits opening to reveal two familiar blood-red eyes, untouched by love or joy or sorrow. The giant monarch bat spread its wings, huge as it rose, suddenly airborne, rushing toward him. Bruce tried to run, but remembering Alfred's words, he stopped, then turned and faced the monster that was screeching towards him. Glistening fangs, barely inches from his face. It stared into Bruce's eyes, spreading its wings wide. And Bruce raised his arms in turn, a living mirror. The two stood facing each other, man and bat. In the moonlight on the wall, their shadows began to blend, to merge, becoming one. From the mouth of the inner cave, a swarm of bats exploded past Alfred, who took cover before seeing a man step out of the entrance.
Master Bruce?
Batman, Alfred. I'm Batman.
The Dark Knight had returned. In the sky, the bat signal shone over Gotham City. But soon, a giant holographic green question mark started projecting around it. At his headquarters in Claw Island, the Riddler looked at his handiwork, satisfied. His hostage, Chase, was tied up a few feet away. She had watched him use the box, and she knew what it was doing to his body.
There's a reason we only use a fraction of our brains. You're cutting neural pathways faster than your consciousness can incorporate them. You're frying your mind.
Spoil the mood, why don't you? Nap time, gorgeous.
Riddler pulled out a hypodermic needle. He injected it into her arm, making her pass out. She'd be his bait for Batman. Back at the Batcave, Bruce turned from the Bat computer.
I tracked that question mark beam to Claw Island. That's where they're keeping Chase.
Claw Island? Then Edward Nigma
is the Riddler. I knew Stigley's suicide was computer-generated forgery. Are all the Batsuits destroyed?
All except the one with the sonar modifications you've invented, but you haven't tested it yet.
Tonight's a good night.
Moments later, Bruce stepped out. A new, improved Batman. Dark and ominous.
What do you suggest, Alfred? By sea or by air?
Why not both?
Batman turned to see Dick, who had returned, now in his improved Robin costume. It had a red armored vest, green tights with knee armor, and a black cape with yellow on the inside. Despite his reservations, when it came to Two-Face and Riddler, Batman knew that 2 against 2 would make better odds. They shook hands. It was settled. Outside, in Gotham Harbor, the Batboat raced through the darkness, with Robin at the controls, as Batman piloted the Batwing towards Claw Island. As they closed in, searchlights atop the island popped up, one by one, flooding the area with overpowering light. A mortar shell hit the Batboat. Then, another. Robin abandoned ship, jumping into the water, as a third shell made one final hit, blowing up the Batboat. Robin attempted to swim, but underwater floodlights flipped on around him. From every direction, frogmen in green wetsuits swam towards him, armed with spear guns. Up above, Batman used his infrared sonar screen, seeing Robin in trouble underwater. He piloted the Batwing right into the harbor, where it transformed into a submarine. The Bat-Sub rammed into the frogmen, attacking Robin and launched Batman into them. He was wearing a rebreather and steering an underwater jet unit. The frogmen fired at this deep dive Batman, but missed as Batman rammed into them. One frogman grabbed Robin, who tried to pull him off but couldn't get a grip on him. Then, the goon felt a presence behind him. He turned to see Batman, whose fist smashed the glass of his mask. Batman and Robin gathered the frogmen up to the surface, all captured in a net. Then, they made their way to the shore of Claw Island and stepped inside the main building, finding themselves in an intertwining complex of geometrically impossible castle-like stairs and walkways. Ceilings looked like floors and walls. Gravity functioned in all directions.
He's bombarding our brains with theta radiation, interfering with our neuroreceptors.
Batman!
Batman and Robin saw Chase, with Two-Face holding a knife to her throat.
You want the lady? Come and get her!
Batman and Robin raced up the stairways as Chase kicked Two-Face in the shins, breaking away. The mad pursuit was on. Chase, unable to reach Batman. Batman, trying to reach Chase. Robin, trying to catch Two-Face. Two-Face, trying to elude Robin, but still trying to catch Chase. All running in different directions, finding themselves upside down, sideways, right side up. Batman finally tracked down Chase, only to find that it was an illusion. It had really been Two-Face's henchman. Batman knocked him out. Across the room, Robin managed to tackle Two-Face. They landed in a hallway of funhouse mirrors. Robin shoved Two-Face into one and proceeded to take out his revenge on the man who murdered his family.
This is for my mother. My father. My sisters. My brother. And this is for me.
Batman ran over as Robin grabbed Two-Face's knife off the ground.
You'd be doing us a favor. Just make sure to strike twice.
Robin hesitated. He looked up, seeing the hall of mirrors. One mirror then changed to glass, showing Batman on the other side.
Robin, no.
What are you waiting for? You know you're dying to do it.
No.
Robin dropped the knife. Deep down, he knew Batman was right. But Two-Face saw his chance. He pounced on Robin, making him his prisoner.
Robin!
He ran after them, but they had disappeared. Instead, Batman found himself running down a tunnel that was getting narrow, until suddenly, it began to look like a familiar Gotham City street. Not just any street. He was standing in the alley at Pearl and Phillip Streets, and he was now watching his parents, about to get killed in front of his younger self by Jack Napier. Batman saw his parents fall. He ran through the electronic projection as the images disappeared, turning into a narrow, black, ascending corridor. Projected images of his old enemies bombarded him. Catwoman.
I am Catwoman. Hear me roar. Meow.
Penguin.
My name is not Oswald. It's Penguin. Yesterday's victor is tomorrow's vapor.
and the man who murdered his parents, the Joker.
Hold it, pal. Excuse me, Batman. I'm gonna get you. You hear me? I'm gonna get you one of these days.
Passing through them, he found a door shaped like a question mark and opened it. Finding himself inside a huge spherical dome, the control center of Claw Island. The Riddler sat, surrounded by TV screens, his body and mind connected to them by electrodes, his brain even larger. A huge antenna shot up behind him through a hole in the dome and into the Gotham sky. The lights circled him, feeding him more and more brain power.
Let Chase and Robin go. This is between you and me.
And me, and me.
Two-Face appeared from behind the Riddler, ominously. The Riddler gloated.
Oh, Betsy, Brucey, Betsy, Brucey, Betsy, Brucey, shame on you! You were too high and mighty to pay attention to little Edward Nigma, weren't you? While you were ignoring me, I was watching you, figuring you out, but discovering you were Batman, that's when all the pieces fit the puzzle, if you will. I understand your greatest fear, that Bruce Wayne and Batman can never truly coexist. So let's have some fun and help you decide once and for all who you really are. Behind curtain number 1, we have Dr. Chase Meridien, the love of Bruce Wayne's life. Whereas behind curtain number 2, we have Robin the Boy Wonder, Batman's one and only partner.
The curtains lifted, revealing both Chase and Robin as hostages trapped inside cylinders suspended above the floor. Chase was unconscious, but Robin was struggling against the ropes around his tied hands.
And below, a watery grave.
Trap doors opened up in the floor, beneath Chase and Robin's cylinders, giving a glimpse of the water 5 stories below. Huge, pointed rocks lay on the bottom, an instant death if anyone were to fall.
Now, once I push this button,
you only have 5 seconds before they smash on the rocks below. You can't save them both. So who will it be? Bruce's love, Batman's partner. You decide.
Batman looked above the Riddler's antenna as he saw one final vision. Gliding above the Riddler's head was the giant monarch bat. It didn't scare Bruce anymore, and now he understood what the bat was telling him.
Wait, I have a riddle for you. I see without seeing. To me, darkness is as clear as daylight. What am I?
That's the best you can do? That's easy! You're as blind as a bat!
Exactly.
Batman threw a batarang directly at the Riddler's neon antenna, overloading the electrodes connected to him. As he screamed, however, Riddler pressed the button, releasing Chase and Robin from their cylinders, sending them to their deaths below. Batman dove after them, just as the power in the lair went out. Everything was pitch black, but 2 lenses dropped down over Batman's cowl as he cut through the air. Through sonar wave imagery, he could see everything. Down below was a wild crisscross of interconnected beams. He threw a batarang that connected with one, allowing him to swing over and grab Chase, pulling her to safety as she woke up.
Batman?
I'll be back.
Falling below, Robin looked up to see Batman was diving for him next, arm outstretched. Dick smiled. It was like another Flying Grayson's circus act. With his bound hands, Robin reached up towards Batman. The cable of the Batarang stopped just before they could hit the rocks. Batman had caught him, just like his father always had. Batman pulled Robin up the line to safety, next to Chase. But suddenly in the darkness, almost blinding Batman through his lenses, was Two-Face. He wore a miner's light on his head and was brandishing a gun.
All those heroics for nothing, Bruce. No more games. No more curtains 1 and 2. Just curtains!
Two-Face stopped himself and pulled out his coin.
But emotion is so often the enemy of justice.
He flipped it. As Batman started to reach into his utility belt for another Batarang, the coin came down just a hair too far away from Harvey.
No!
Two-Face reached to catch it, but he lost his balance, falling from the beam into the rocks below, a victim of his own weapon. Batman left Robin with Chase. She was still groggy from the Riddler's drug, but she could have sworn she heard Two-Face call Batman Bruce. Up above, Batman found the Riddler. True to Chase's warning, he had taken in far too many of people's thoughts, and far too quickly. His brain began to pulse and fry. Batman ripped the electrodes from Riddler's head and body, then took off his mask. All that was left was Edward Nygma, a little man who had lost his identity, his memory, and his ability to reason.
You were wrong, Edward. There was never a choice of who to save. Just as there was never a choice for me. I am Bruce Wayne and Batman. Not because I have to be. Now, because I choose to be.
In Arkham Asylum, a new patient had taken Two-Face's old room. That night, Dr. Chase Meridien came to visit the Riddler.
Edward, Dr. Burton tells me you know who Batman is.
Oh, I can't tell you if you don't say please.
Edward, please. Who is Batman?
Edward suddenly appeared, the sleeves of his straitjacket flapping around him like a bat.
I am Batman!
As Chase left the asylum, she found Alfred waiting for her.
Mr. Wayne sent me to pick you up. He asked me to convey his deepest apologies. He will be tied up most of the night.
And I had so many questions to ask him.
He is very fond of you, Dr. Meridien. But duty calls.
She looked up in the sky, seeing the bat signal. Deep down, she knew Bruce's secret. And with Edward's mind gone, that secret was safe.
Does it ever end, Alfred?
No, miss. Not in this lifetime.
Batman and Robin stood at the edge of a building, keeping vigil over the city. For years, Bruce had felt it was his burden, his punishment to be Batman. But now, free from guilt and with a new partner by his side, things were different. Like he told the Riddler, he could choose to be both Bruce Wayne and Batman. And he was choosing to be Batman forever. You've been listening to Batman 3, the original Batman Forever script, adapted for audio by Ben Wan, and written by Lee and Janet Scott Batchelor, with additions by Akiva Goldsman. This production was brought to life through the sound mixing and editing of Tim Maxwell, and produced by Newverse Creative. Our talented voice cast includes Ben Wan as Batman and Bruce Wayne, Nick Gonzalez as Edward Nygma, the Riddler, Derek Willingham as Two-Face, Lawrence Sanders as Dr. Chase Meridien, Christopher Anderson II as Dick Grayson, Robin, Lauren King as Commissioner Gordon, A.J. Carter as Dr. Ames. This audio drama was narrated by Simon Mitchell. Also, if you liked the writing of this adaptation, check out Ben Wan's original comics, Alter Ego and Musashi and Son on Amazon. We hope you enjoyed this production. Be sure to follow Newverse Creative for more immersive audio dramas. Until next time, stay vigilant.